Well, that's a couple more rumors confirmed. Let's talk a little bit about it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I want to be a fighter, like you.
Oh, let it burn! Let it burn!
Did you miss me?
You have to shoot them in the head. They always come back.
The boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Good luck.
Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you like horror flicks just as much as I do, then make sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates just like this one. Also, the best way to support the channel is by becoming a Patreon supporter, where you'll get exclusive perks like trailer reactions and bonus review videos. I just put out 2 different trailer reactions today, one on the Obsession teaser that came out yesterday, as well as the Scream 7 leaked trailer. Support me on Patreon to get all those nasty perks. Thank you so much for keeping me in business. And now let's get into the updates. Mike Flanagan has proved that he's a god amongst men and no longer needs sleep because he's tackling yet another goddamn Stephen King project, doing a new adaptation of The Mist. Can we get a wellness check on Mike? I'm concerned for his health. The Mist is one of King's most iconic stories, following a man and his son who get holed up at a grocery store when a mist rolls in with interdimensional monsters inside. The novella has already been made into an excellent 2007 movie directed by Frank Darabont, who's responsible for some of the very best Stephen King adaptations out there, just like The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption. There was also a short-lived television series based on the novella that kicked off back in 2017. The 2007 flick is phenomenal for a number of reasons. It's got some pretty decent creature effects that have, held up for the most part. I think it captures the societal breakdown of the novel very well, maybe even more so than the novel, and it even has a better ending, one that had Mr. Stephen King elated. For those who don't know, the novella ends ambiguously. Our survivors just kind of drive off into the mist, and that's it. In the movie, it's a lot different. You will certainly come away from that 2007 flick tested, that's for sure. I feel the exact same way about this announcement as I do Mike Flanagan's new Carrie series. I don't really need a new adaptation of either of those stories. We already have very masterful ones out there. But because it's coming from Mike Flanagan, who is just another master of horror, a guy who's got the Midas touch when it comes to pretty much every project he's ever been a part of, yeah, I'm gonna see this thing, and it's probably gonna be good. Mike Flanagan is all over Stephen King right now, working on a ton of different projects. The one I'm the most excited for, though, is easily his Dark Tower series coming from Amazon MGM. Now that's a story that needs a faithful adaptation. Chatting with Doof Media, Flanagan said of the Dark Tower Season 1 scripts, the scripts for the first season are wonderful. I am so happy with them. Stephen King is very happy with them. He's been through it with his adaptations. He'll tell you he's not pleased, and this one means more to him than any of the others, so the pressure is huge. This fantasy epic may only be horror adjacent, but has so many different interesting ties to other King stories out there, and is truly the man's magnum opus. I can't wait to see the quartet put to the screen like never before. While we wait for Evil Dead Burn dropping on July 24th of this year, we have some really interesting updates on the mysterious 7th installment written and directed by Francis Galuppi. Let's talk about everything we know so far regarding Evil Dead Wrath. Galuppi recently put out the horror film The Last Stop in Yuma County with Richard Brake that is sadly still on my watch list. I have to see that movie ASAP because it's apparently the reason why Sam Raimi handpicked this guy to tackle his own iconic series. The 7th installment is rumored to be titled Evil Dead Wrath, continuing the subtitle trend of the previous 2 installments. Rise, Burn, and Wrath, I love it. Each of these subtitles gave us some sort of clue as to what was going on in their respective flicks. For instance, with Evil Dead Rise, that referred to the high-rise building setting of that film. So what does Wrath mean? My head immediately goes to the 7 deadly sin. Wrath isn't just anger too, it's kind of pushing past that. It's like this strong resentment that means you want to get vengeance upon this other person, this other entity. So what if Evil Dead Wrath is all about someone using the Necronomicon as a weapon against someone else, opposed to just finding it in a basement somewhere and reading from it by accident? Now that could be a really cool reinvention of this series. The cast for that one currently includes Charlotte Hope from The Nun, Jessica McNamee from Mortal Kombat, Zach Gilford from Midnight Mass, Josh Hellman from Mad Max Fury Road, Ella Newton from Dangerous Animals, newcomer Ella Oliphant, and Elizabeth Cullen from Gulagong. The most exciting thing about Wrath, though, is that there's a rumor floating around right now that maybe maybe Bruce Campbell will reprise his role as Ash in this one. God, that would be groovy. One last thing I want to mention here is that in our last Evil Dead Burn update, we talked a little bit about how some people got to see an early screening of the flick who described some small little details about it. Some of the highlights there is that the movie takes place at this big house in the woods. It focuses a little more on the Kandarian dagger rather than the Necronomicon, and maybe the most exciting thing is that we're going to see an animal turn into a deadite this time, which is kind of a first for the franchise if you don't count the deer on the wall in Evil Dead 2. Now, a theory I posed in that video is that Evil Dead Burn could be connected to Evil Dead Rise. As you might remember from that flick, the movie starts and ends by getting the Necronomicon, or just deadites in general, to a cabin in the woods again. So is that loose end, those deadites in that flick, are they just gonna kind of waltz over to this house in the woods where Evil Dead Burn takes place? The reason I'm bringing that up is that maybe Evil Dead Burn is going to do something similar, where Evil Dead Wrath is going to tie up those loose ends again. Lee Cronin, Sebastian Vanacek, and Francis Galuppi all get to tell their own separate stories across these three movies, but they're all loosely connected. That could be kind of cool. Either way, I'm just so excited for both of these films, with one coming out on July 24th of this year, and the other is currently shooting in New Zealand as we speak. Evil Dead forever, baby. A new trailer for Scream 7 premiered last night in theaters exclusively right before Wuthering Heights. It has some really exciting new footage in it to break down. First, we got a ton of new shots of Sydney Prescott, or Sydney Evans, should I say. One in particular where she says, "She wants to know about my past." She's likely referring to her daughter Tatum here. I doubt that Sydney actually told her all of the details about what happened to her back in the day. Think about that from Sydney's perspective as a mom. She likely sheltered her daughter from that terrible, dangerous side of her. It doesn't seem like Tatum's digging all that overprotection, however, as she literally says in one of the other trailers, she wants to be a fighter just like her mom. She's a Prescott, goddammit, she can't just be sitting around doing nothing. Or technically she's an Evans, but fuck that noise. Maybe she's not that good of a fighter though, because in this shot we get confirmation of one of the many rumors that we've been talking about surrounding Scream 7, that Tatum is going to be kidnapped by Ghostface. We also get a better shot at Celeste O'Connor's fight with Ghostface in a restaurant kitchen. We've also seen Mindy and Chad at this location, so I hope everyone makes it out alive here. I doubt it though. The biggest thing about this new trailer though is that we got an even clearer voice line from Mr. Matthew Lillard, talking to Sydney over the phone. That, as well as his pixelated face on a TV screen. I think this all but confirms that Stu Macher is only going to be in this film as a deepfake or AI generated voice. This is a rumor that's been circling for some time now, and I think the marketing team just decided to say, fuck it, let's put it in the trailer. That ghost is still haunting Sydney from beyond the grave. I also have to mention the sick as fuck dolly zoom we get with Sydney Prescott when she hears that voice for the first time. I'm still not sure why a common criticism of this flick is that it's not shot very well. This is awesome.
Surprise, Sydney.
Another trailer came out today on Jason's birthday, Friday the 13th, but this one is for tomorrow, Valentine's Day, and it even featured a ton of the couples in the film. There's also this suspicious scene in there too.
Why do you like me?
Some other new stuff is Celeste O'Connor finding Joel McHale's body on the ground, Sydney and Gail getting a phone call from deepfake Stu with Robbie Rivers standing in the background there, and yet another shot of Ghostface slicing into McKenna Grace's body, who's likely tied up in those theater ropes. Also, I don't know who edited this trailer, but they had to have done this on purpose.
Only one movie will make you come undone.
Oh, come on, I know what you're doing there. This is a Valentine's Day trailer too. Some of y'all are nasty back there. Holy goddamn, that's a lot of updates. Which one had you the most terrified though? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Bye-bye.